Well, hello everybody. It's me and Mel. We're here for another episode of Straight Talk. Um, we're gonna wait till a couple people come in, Mel, because the bad weather and stuff. I don't know. It might be a little slow. People coming in today.
That's all right. We are here and we are ready to chat with whoever shows up. And good to see you, Lori. And folks, I'm hoping you can see my avatar this time. I'm sorry, last time I was just a white blob.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember the
t-
white blob.
yeah, today I feel like a white blob, but at least you guys get to see my avatar. But yeah, we're going to talk today about with Valentine's Day coming up, Lori and I were talking about, well, why should it just be Valentine's Day? Let's talk a little about how we can show the people we care about every day, that we care about them, and so that's what we figured we'd hit on today.
Are you having the bad weather? Because I mean, for us, it's from Texas all the way up through Louisiana, and then we're going straight up through Tennessee and Kentucky. I mean, with the tornadoes, the lightning, and it's all through the night. So, are you out of
Oh,
the out of the?
so far it's so good, but my guess is it's probably heading toward Florida. So,
Well, it looks like it's going straight up, but you might miss it because well, we're 80 degrees today, so that's why it had to rain on us today like this.
well, hey y'all,
Well,
hey
hi,
Victoria.
Victoria, Maeve, Michael. Hey, Mike.
Mike's and Michael, hey guys, come on in, sit down, and grab
Hey,
your favorite
Jesse.
beverage. Hey Jesse,
Glad you
we're
can make it.
we're glad y'all are here, and you're always welcome. Please invite your friends to join us. As you know, when it's going to be Lori and Mel Straight Talk, that's what we do. We talk straight about whatever's on our minds and whatever topic. And please be active in the chat.
And we ain't shy.
Uh-oh, the deer. Mike says that deer is on the move. Yeah, the
They're
deer is on
on to
the move.
something and they're just never going to let it go. So, oh, moist Carho over there.
Well, we're glad y'all are here, and the whole idea behind Straight Talk is our whole concept is real people, real talk, and we don't want any drama. Whose birthday is today? Is it Lori's birthday?
No, I think it was supposed to be. I think Friday is Victoria's birthday. I think it's Friday.
Victoria's birthday. Well,
It's coming
happy
up
early
this
birthday,
week.
Victoria.
Hey, Bonnie. I knew it. See, I keep things locked in my head. Hey, Victoria. See, I knew Friday was your birthday, Victoria. See, I pay attention. Hey,
Happy early
Bonnie.
birthday. Hi, Bonnie. Happy early birthday. Well, Mike's, we're glad you keep things lubed in the car hole. You keep things running smooth for us here, too. We
Yes, he
appreciate it.
does. So with I guess a lot of people get confused. They think if you don't, a person doesn't say "I love you," then they might not be in love with them or care about them. But I think today we're going to bust that myth wide open and show them that they're wrong. They just have
Yeah,
to open their heart more and their eyes
exactly.
and maybe
Ex-
close their mouth a little bit more.
exactly. And, I think, well, one of the things you and I were talking about before we started the show, hi, James, Lil James, is that it's nice to hear those three words, I love you, especially if we're in a relationship with a partner or a spouse. And I think as I get older, I value saying those words and hearing those words because we're not promised tomorrow. And so not only from our partner, but with friends, with children, with people we care about, I think it is important to let people know that we care for them. But the other thing is that there are ways that we can show care, that we love people that don't even involve those words. And I don't know about chat, but do any of you have ways that you let other people know that you care that don't necessarily involve saying the words I love you? Like, what do some of you do that show that you care or that you love somebody?
See, for me, I'm opposite of you. I'm okay if Tim doesn't say I love you as much as when we were even 5 or 10 years ago, which he does, but I'm saying if he didn't, to me, the the thing that gets me is like when I have a free day and I don't have errands and I wasn't working or anything like that, and I got up and the dishes were done or the laundry was put into the washing machine for me or he had ran the vacuum so that I could take a little slower in the morning of getting just relaxing, sitting down with a cup of coffee and watching TV or something, or he took the kids to school and didn't wake me up. Those to me are through his, just by what he did was telling me, I didn't want to wake you up to say I love you, but here, you can see what I did for you to show you I love you. And to me, that
Exactly.
means more sometimes.
Exactly. Hey, Dustin. Yeah, like Mike's Carhole said, through actions, like,
Yep.
doing nice things, doing things like cleaning the house and, like he said, servitude. And there's Gary Chapman years ago wrote a book called about the five love languages. And when we identify the language that we respond to, and when we figure out what it is that our partner or spouse or the people around us respond to, we talked last time about how to communicate, and fair fighting. And a lot of the love languages are tied into that too, because for you, it's like acts of service. If Tim, would clean up, or if he was doing something like that, for you, that meant a lot because
Yep.
he had done an act of service, and that gave you more time.
Yep.
For me, things like that are important too. But the five love languages that Chapman told us about was things like words of affirmation, like saying things like it could be "I love you," or it could be "You look pretty," or you mean a lot to me, or you're important, or just anything like that.
I'm
It could be
proud of you. Good
I'm
job.
proud of you. I'm proud of you. You did a good job. It could be acts of service like cooking dinner or cleaning the house or running an errand, picking the kids up. It could be touch. And touch doesn't have to be sexual. It could be a kiss, a hug, holding
A
hands,
back rub.
a back rub. Sometimes just that little hand on his shoulder that, just in passing, something like that. It could be gifts of time, just spending time together. You might not even be talking with each other or really interacting so much, but you're just in each other's presence. And so we've got words of affirmation, physical touch, service, time, and I'm forgetting the fifth one. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm gonna have
Shame on
to
you.
come up.
You've had 2 weeks to
I
practice to remember
know
that.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to I've had a brain fart. Somebody's gonna have to help me. Oh my gosh. Um yeah, like Meg saying, your husband doesn't wake you up when you're sleeping on because he knows you're a grouch, Victoria getting your niece and nephew their snacks or their favorite candy. Dustin giving your cousin Stephanie a card. All of those things. Oh, that's the other one, Dustin. Okay, thank you. Gifts. That was the fifth one. Gifts. And it doesn't have to be a huge gift. It could be something small. It could be wildflowers. It could be a card. It doesn't have to be a bouquet of long stem red roses. It could be wildflowers the child picks for a parent. But that
Yep.
was the fifth one. It was gifts. Thank you, Dustin. Um,
Mhm.
hey, Amanda. So yeah, so those are the five: gifts, acts of service, physical touch, words of affirmation, and well, anyway, we've done the five.
Yep.
So yeah, Mike, the back rubs lead to other stuff.
Not if it's during the day and the kids are home and they saw you came in and they tell you to go grab a seat. Now, if they say, Go to the room and lay down and I'll be there in a minute," then you know, okay, I'm getting a back rub with a little dessert early. So, Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it'll be a delayed leads to something else, huh? You know,
Yep.
so but
Or even
it's
just a foot
important
rub or a
because
hand rub sometimes.
if you know what the love language is of your partner, like let's say, if you're doing a lot of things for the other person and they don't seem appreciative, maybe it's not that they're not appreciative. Maybe that's not their love language. Or you're buying somebody gifts or you're giving them a lot of things. Maybe that's not their love language. Maybe what
Yep.
they need to hear is I appreciate you or I love you or you look nice today. Maybe it's somebody that needs to hear words or maybe it's somebody who needs physical touch. So sometimes we have to kind of play around and see, well, what's their love language? What is it? For me, just holding my hand or when my boyfriend puts his hand in the small of my back or just touches me on the shoulder or we're driving along and all of a sudden he just reaches over and takes my hand, that makes my heart melt. He didn't have to do anything else. He just takes my hand and just takes it and we're just driving along. Okay, there goes my heart all over again.
Mine's with no matter how bad of a day I'm having or how bleak something looks or just rough, all Tim has to do is, if when he notices, is come over and envelop me in a big hug, and it's like the whole world disappears, and I know I'm safe. Just in that
Right,
space for that moment, I know he's got me, and it just does a lot right there to ease whatever that other crap just melts away.
right. So yours also, in addition to acts of service, would be physical touch.
Yeah, because I don't
So,
like gifts. I'm not into the gifts.
all right, so not the gifts,
Nope.
so physical touch, acts of service. What would you say Tim's are?
he, wow, he likes the words, the
Mm-hmm.
touch. Um, he's more like kisses. They really mean a lot to him because he feels connected through a kiss. Me looping my arm through his, like when we're walking, if I just
Mm-hmm.
take my arm and wrap it around him. Um, but he's more because he's not into the gifts or just the little stuff around, like if I tell him, hey, you know what? It's a hard day. Why don't you go ahead and go, lay down, or why don't you go watch the games and I've got this covered or something. So, it's not so much the servitude part of it. It's more of the action of his more physical, the touching and.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of, well, I won't say that people have to be evenly or have to have the same love languages, but for the two of you, it seems to be that both of you like the touch,
Yep.
and then for him doing acts of service, and for you, giving him, the certain words or the he responds to words and things that you say to him.
Yep.
So it's good that you know each other's love languages. And Amanda, you're right, paying attention to simple little things. And I'll tell you how that can work with people that aren't even your partners. Um, at Christmas time, my boyfriend's daughter said that she said to me, I noticed that you pay attention to the little things that we say and things that we like. And that meant a lot to me because in another week or two, we will have been dating a year. And I I care for Morgan and I care for his grandson. And so it's important that these other relationships in my life, to let people know that I care for them and that they mean a lot to me. And
Mhm.
her acknowledging that meant that, by her telling me that, it meant that she was aware that they meant something to me. And so when we pay attention to simple little things and when we show people that we care in other ways, using these love languages can affect other relationships in our lives. And
Yep.
so it's sometimes not just our partners or our spouse, but it can be our kids or friends or other relationships. And I found that out just as some of you are mentioning, you know, like Dustin saying here, when he was growing up, he never had a cousin to love. And then when when God put his cousin Stephanie in his life after his grandfather died in 2019. So that's an important relationship in Dustin's life. And he's nurturing that relationship by things like giving her a card and letting her know he's important in his life.
Yep.
So that's how this is important, not just with a partner, but anybody you really cherish and love. And Dustin, that's so cool that you form that relationship with her. And Amanda, isn't that great? Those unexpected hugs.
Also, it's not just your partner because you did hit on it. Kids need that too. You could tell them that you love them and they know that they're, going to be protected. Nobody on the outside world's going to be able to get to them through unless they go through you. But it's the little things like it didn't matter how old they got. When I started when they were little, like those little boxes of little hard candies, even if I always got them when they were little, or at Christmas time, those little calendars, the advents with the chocolates. If even all the way up to the age of 30, my son still got one. Plus, I started it with all my grandkids too, my daughter, all of it. And I still, to this day, still keep up on those little things. And it just lets them know. And it's not just around the holidays, it's the little things you've got to do on a daily basis. Because I don't believe in just using 1 or 2 days a year to express that to somebody.
Yeah, that's important. I have my best friend is more like a sister than my sisters are. Um, and while that may seem sad because you would think somebody's sisters should be their sisters, it makes me happy because that's how wonderful my best friend and her husband are. They're like brother and sister to me. So to be able to let them know that and to share that and to have people like that in my life, you know, and you're right, things like with kids, my mom and I, and throughout our lives, even right up until before she passed away, we gave each other stockings for Christmas, filled with goodies, and hadn't done that in years, and got to have that experience with my boyfriend and his daughter and grandson at Christmas. So there are traditions that people can weave into their relationships that also may be part of their love language, whether it's a gift or whether it's putting notes in a lunchbox for kids or for a spouse or a loved one. Lots
Yeah.
of lots of fun things that people can do. Hey, Mikey,
Welcome, Mikey. Go ahead, Mel.
yeah, just saying that you're so right. I mean, things for kids and what's fun is there are traditions that I know that my mom did with us when we were little, and we started doing them as we got older. So these love languages can actually kind of get passed around, and these traditions of how we interact with each other, it's kind of cool to see how kids do them as they get older, and maybe even do them with their friends or with their kids as they grow up. So what other ways do you guys show in the chat? What other ways do you show your love or your love languages with other people around you? Or how would you like people to show you that they care?
And don't you think like getting a message, a text message, or a little handwritten note, or I like old fashioned letters. Um, every once in a while in a card you get just a blank card that's filled with um, a family or a sister or a sibling or a friend that sends that takes that time out of their day that you haven't seen in a while and can't be around every day, and they send you a note in the mail or a note in the house, a post-it note, just saying have a great day, I love you or something like that.
Oh, I know. It's sort of sad sometimes to think about it that we've gotten so used to email, although email's nice, but it is really nice getting a letter or a card in the mail. Oh, Amanda, I like that.
I
Writing a
used
message
to do
on
that
the
too.
mail.
Yep.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, blueberry muffins for kids. Oh, Punzione, hi.
Songs, yeah, that's a good one too.
Punzione, hi. So good to see you. Oh, sharing a song. Yes.
And songs do that too. I mean, music can take you back to that certain point in your life where if they play, like if you're in a marriage or a relationship and they play that song or send you that song or dedicate it, and it takes you back to that day you met or how it correlates with your relationship or like the day you had a child or something special in your life or that you met your best friend or what was going on in that time. So music is very important too as a language of love.
Oh, it is. I mean, think back to I'm going to, pretty much tell everybody I'm a really old lady right now, but, my boyfriend and I like music from the 70s. And so, we'll be driving along and we'll be listening to satellite radio and, we kind of tend to listen to a lot of that music and it's like, oh, remember that. And we weren't dating then. So it's kind of like a blast from the past to go back to that music. So yeah, enjoying music together. Things like that. And even now I notice that with younger generations, they're getting into some of the older music. Of course,
Yep.
they think older music is from like the 2000s.
Yeah.
So,
But I taught my kids a variety. So when they were, my son was late 90s, hey, Red Eye, and then up. As they got older, I would always rotate. I'd let them I'd let them listen to a couple songs of their music, and then they had to listen to a couple of our music. That way they were introduced. And even for me, 50s was way before me, but I would take the cassette tapes, the little ones that you'd buy at a gas station back in
oh
the 80s and 90s.
yeah.
And everyone, maybe once every couple months, we put it in and we would just get goofy and sing, to Run Around Sue and the Beach Boy and stuff like that and dance with them and act all crazy. Just little things that they can remember that now, they might not go back that far because you can't get a cassette tape, though I have an attic full of them, but they could put on CDs that I had got them growing up to do with their kids.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Oh, I like that, Victoria. Christmas Eve opening up one gift and new PJs. That's a cool tradition. And
Yeah.
that's something that I see a lot of families do around the holidays and they take pics in their PDs.
Yep.
Red-eyed. Hi. Hi, Red-eyed Patriot. Pununzione has had a great question. What's a favorite love song? Does anybody have favorite love songs?
I was faithfully yours.
Faithfully Yours. I like that. One of my favorites is by Elvis Presley. I can't help falling in love with you.
Okay. Hey, Loki, welcome.
Loki. Hey Loki, welcome. Favorite love songs. Anybody have favorite love songs? Let's get sappy for just a minute. Favorite love songs. Oh yeah, Dustin. Great songs by Hank Williams and Waylon.
I don't know, anything Journey or Foreigner,
Oh my
they put
gosh.
out. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Even Brian
Oh.
Adams. Uh,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
Lady
Brian
in Red.
Adams. Oh, Amanda,
That was a,
good song. Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. Oh,
yep.
yeah.
The Lady in Red by, yeah.
Oh, Lady in Red, Punzione. Perfect song.
Isn't that another Eric Clapton, if I'm correct?
Oh my
Is
gosh, you
Dancing
guys.
with Me.
Oh, Bonnie, great song. Sticks, yes.
Even Babe, I
Oh,
Love You by Styx. Louis
oh,
Armstrong.
Loki, yes. A Kiss to Build a Dream on. Oh my gosh, you guys are. This is like this is like a great mixtape that we need.
We might have to do one of those kind of old fashioned love song nights.
Oh
So
Lori, that would be awesome.
where everybody gets to
Oh,
put in the song that they reminds them of their favorite love song is and just submit them and do something like that one night. That'd be awesome.
exactly. A red-eyed, that's a really good one. These arms. Oh, I
Mhm.
haven't heard that in ages, ages, ages. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, that would be a great like what's kind of your some of your best love songs. So yeah, it's Let's get it on. Yeah, that's a good one, Bonnie. That's a good one. I mean, let's face it, Chris
Yep.
Ledoux, look at your girl, another good one. I mean, let's face it. There are certain artists and certain songs where you just can't help it. You hear the music and you gotta move, right?
We could just put on the whole, the whole CD, the whole cassette tape from 80s and 90s. And that was the thing that my kids, I wanted them to know that today's generation, they don't have these love songs that they could grow up to and, think about how the other, a man or a woman should treat you. Some of the stuff that they were getting, they'd be like, ooh, that's why are they? Because, love songs just set a tone for you and they put images in your head and not fantasies, but dreams of what you're wanting for that special someone to come into
Yeah,
your
they
life.
do. They
But
do.
I don't remember many love songs like in the mid 90s to early 2000s. It was they were getting like stanky legs and stuff like that and it was like this is not romantic, Classic R&B. Give us some baby face stuff like that.
Yeah, it didn't compare to Barry White.
With
Barry
Crystal
White,
Gayle.
you could put on one of his albums and just that was it. You were gone for the night. Red Eyed, is it your birthday today? Happy birthday. Happy 29th birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Red Eye. So, no, 41 is a good age. Don't want to go backwards to 29.
41. Oh, I'd love 40. I'd love to be 41 again. Oh, silly
Paul
love song.
McCartney. Yep.
That's a good one too. Well, happy birthday, Red Eyed. Oh, Loki, I'm ahead of you anyway. So y'all are just babies to me, but you know what? I think that's wonderful. Happy birthday. Happy birthday and that you're spending some time with Lori and Mel Red-Eyed. Oh my gosh. Love it. Love it,
Yep.
love it.
They're going to have to sing him one of those sappy birthday songs tonight.
Exactly, exactly. There you
She's
go,
29
Amanda.
with 11 experience. I do like that we do seem to have like a decent amount of mature people age wise on in our community. It's amazing because you always want to make sure the way the topics you're discussing and that they can because for men it's a proven fact that around 27, 28 is when they finish maturing where they're able to handle a lot of the relationships. And I mean some do it really early, don't get me wrong, but medically is it not fact that usually about 27, 28 is when a man fully matures, where for girls they start maturing emotionally a lot sooner.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I love about our chat and our group and this family, and everything is just, and especially the people in chat now and as they join us is just that there's no drama, and I love what everybody's bringing to this group. And we're talking today about, how do we tell the people that we love and care about that we love and we care about them, and not just reserve it for Valentine's Day or for special occasions, but that we let them know any day and every day. And it doesn't have to be a big affair, but it can be anytime. MMC, hey, were your ears burning? We were just talking about you.
Well,
No.
no, see, we've been told we're each other. That's my troll account. That's not really him. He doesn't exist. It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so nice that we can come together like this and talk about these things and and just have a good old conversation and share, and I think that's really important because life's too short for all the drama, and it's nice to be able to talk with real people and to talk about real topics and to get people's take on things. Like, one of the things I hear about Valentine's Day is it's become too commercialized. And I don't know how people in chat feel about that. Do you feel like it's become too commercialized?
I know for me, I don't want to be proposed. on a holiday or my birthday. I wouldn't want that. I don't want to just be told the first time that you love me on one of these commercialized where it says this is the only day that you're supposed to express love. Um, I want some random out of the blue day for you at a random time to just say how you feel. For if it's the first time or being proposed to. Um, to me, I do believe it's too commercialized. It's a way to make more money off of other people, and they use these holidays as, if somebody's telling you they love you on Valentine's Day and they haven't told you before, are they just being told to do that by the TV and all the ads and the radio? Yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because my boyfriend and I had our first date on February 19th. And we'd been talking, we had been texting and talking, and we had talked for so many hours. Now, this is a man who doesn't like, or he said he didn't like to talk on the phone, but we had had like 3 and 4 hour conversations before we met. So we felt like we we knew each other quite a bit
Right.
before we had our first date. And it was kind of funny because, when you meet that close to Valentine's Day, you still feel like there's kind of some pressure. So we even kind of talked about that before we met. Like, yeah, we're not going to do like Valentine's Day stuff, which it was refreshing to not do that. Yet this sweetheart still had a card for me when we met. And but there's so much pressure. It's like, what do we do? Where do we go? Do we do a dinner? What do we do? And I hate for people to have that much pressure.
Yep. See, we did ours
Panuzia,
reverse. I don't know
did you?
about other people. Yeah, we didn't know each other. It was a random meeting. It was really just a one night stand for me, and because I was just getting out of a marriage, and then we did the long phone calls and getting to know each other because he was like just kept calling and wouldn't leave me alone. So we would just start talking. And I was going to brush him off at first, but then just talking to him over the phone. So then, because we were long distance, so we were doing all the phone calls. And then we'd meet up when he would have it was weekends. Every weekend he would drive 10 hours to come see me, or I would drive 10 hours to see him. So we didn't do our love story the way where you would either meet and start talking and then further the relationship. We did it in reverse, and then, well, it worked for us because where we're at today. But so, well, thank you,
I
Amanda.
love I love it. I love it. And Panuzia, that you're right in that every day has to be Valentine's Day in
Yep.
terms of the concept of expressing love in one way or another. And that we can sure show each other how we care. Um, and I'm lucky because the man that I'm in love with and who's in love with me, it's so funny in this day of talking and texting and messages and things. I mean, we do the silly emojis and we do all that kind of stuff, and those are the little things that I'm just a goofy teenager, I guess I'll tell you. It's just, he can send me a silly emoji, and I love that as much as anything. So, but yeah, and we're about as unconventional in dating as anybody could be. We went to our first movie in November, which was like 8 months after we had started dating. So we didn't start out either with kind of that typical kind of, oh, well, let's go to dinner and a movie. When we started dating, it was, not long after we met, we started to go RV camping and stuff like that. So we skipped a lot of the traditional stuff, and that's okay. Doesn't have
Yep.
to be blueprint for, you go in a linear order of how you date. I mean, I don't know.
And some people you don't have to be all sappy either, because I'm not a sappy kind of person. Um, Except for when my kids were little, and then with my grandson, everybody knows I'm sappy with him. There are my moments I'm really sappy with Tim, but for the most part, I'm not one of those old fashioned romantic girls that need to be like romanced and stuff like that. But I do like I do need that language of love with from Tim. Even
Yeah.
if I don't have to hear him say it all the time, I still want to to see it every day. And he's the same way. So that's good.
Oh, red eyed. I love that. Oh my gosh. Standing in a Shell parking lot, eating, of all things, a strawberry Pop Tart.
Congrats, Amanda. 20 years.
Oh
See,
my
we the,
gosh.
the day we met, we hooked up, and then we've been together ever since too. And that's another thing is these couples you see they have separate bank accounts and they pay this and this one pays that. And I'm like you, Amanda. I'm more the old fashioned traditional. You're together, it's all in one pot, no matter how much one makes over the other. Because some days I might make more, some days he might have made more, and we put it together, and that's just how we've been. So there is no, it's well, it's what's his is mine, what's mine is mine, and what's ours or what's ours is ours. So that's just
Oh,
how I always.
20 years, Amanda. Red eyed be 23 years in June. Oh my gosh.
Meg's
That's
got over 30.
amazing. Oh my God. That's amazing. Who has over 30?
Meg and
Oh,
MMC.
oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I think
That's,
MMC's close to 40. I think
that
he's
is
either
fabulous.
close to 40 or over 40.
That's
So
fabulous.
it
Well,
is.
and Loki, you're an old-fashioned romantic. Being a mushy fool, I think that's fabulous. I mean, I'll admit, I'm a romantic fool, and I'm in love with a romantic fool, and so we kind of fit together that way, and that's all. That's okay, and Loki, I was divorced, married, and divorced twice, so it
Me too.
happens, but don't give up, just don't give up. Meg, that's amazing. Together for 31 and married for 30. So you know, here I am in my let's see, 29 plus. I can't do the math, but I'll just say I've been around for 6 decades plus, and but my brain doesn't feel that way. And love is still, I'll just say love is still possible after 6 decades, folks, okay?
Yep. And
So there
Bonnie, you're not
is
a recipe
hope.
because Mel's got two divorces. I had two divorces, and look at where we're both at today. So, and Loki, you just got to stay open because that one is out there. She's looking for you. And the time's going to be right where it'll just mesh up and it'll be a glance or filling up your truck with gas one day. And you never know.
And she'd be a lucky lady, Loki. Oh, that rhymed. Lucky
Yep.
lady Loki. Amanda, that's amazing. And sometimes that's how it happens. You initially can't stand who it is that you wind up with, and then one day you look at that person and go, "Oh, I kind of like them." Hey, baby bird.
Mel's a big sister to my age. Okay. That's what MMC said. MMC, how long you been married? Isn't it like close to 40?
Well, MMC, I'm happy to be your big sister. At least I'm still proof that even at my age, you can still think young and fall in love.
And it is a lot of people that are in long-term marriages and relationship. 37. Okay, I knew he was either close to
Oh,
40 or over 40. So yeah,
that's awesome,
I think
MMC.
he's married the longest in our community. But I know there's a couple that is actually married a year over us with the same anniversary date in our community, and they're 1 year ahead of us. And then we've got Meg, and there's MMC, and there's a lot of people. Mike's been married a while. Sin's been married for a while. So Red Eye, we got a lot of long term relationships and marriages in the community. So
Yeah.
that's
Now,
amazing.
Fidencia brings up a really good point that I want people to think about. It's also perfectly okay to be single and to
Yep.
be happy with it.
Happy.
Okay. And here's the other thing about, when we talk about the love languages and we talk about, being happy single, and then, sharing our love with the other people and other relationships in our lives, with our adult children, with our friends, with our neighbors, you know, um, being able to love someone starts with loving ourselves. And so I think a lot of this goes back to being happy with who we are, and not in a conceited way, but just being content with ourselves and with our lives, and just treating each other right. And that's what I see, this community as being. It's a non-drama, real people, real talk kind of community. And when we talk about being nice to other people and showing other people that we care. And so that's the other thing about Valentine's Day. People get all hung up on the romance and stuff, but your Valentine can be your galentine. It can be a girlfriend. It could be some. Remember when we were in school and we made mailboxes and we put Valentines in them, for our classmates.
Yep.
Those were probably our first Valentines. So it doesn't all have to be a romantic thing either. You can be your own Valentine, you
Well,
know?
if you don't love yourself anyway, I mean, you have to love yourself first. So if you're happy with yourself and you got a full life with friends that love you and care about you and family, sometimes that's enough in a fulfilling job. Some people do not need to get their love language from being in a relationship. Just by being by themselves and having a full life is their love language. So
Right. I mean, volunteering, doing things for the community, doing things with friends, just taking care of yourself and doing things that make you feel fulfilled and happy. So yeah, it's sometimes it gets a little overblown, and I know lots of times there's this emphasis on, oh, and when I was single it's like, well, I don't have anybody at Valentine's Day. Well, sometimes a bunch of us, my girlfriends and I'd get together and we'd you know go to somebody's house and do something, or we'd go out and do something, or we'd have lunch or whatever. And so that's the other reason Valentine's Day, after a while, I can remember there was a florist that was selling black roses. It was like an anti-Valentine's Day
yep.
thing. And it's like, well, instead of giving love a bad name, let's just not get into all the commercial hype. Let's just not worry about whether or not you're single or in a relationship. Let's just be glad that you're alive, and let's celebrate the relationships that you have with friends and with other people.
I think
So,
Valentine's puts too much pressure on people because they're expecting these gigantic grand gestures. And then it causes a lot of problems because it's all hyped up in all these people's minds, especially younger people, and they're expecting this to be this and this, all this romance. And sometimes that pressure actually causes it to be a misfire,
yeah, 'cause
and then they
somebody gets
feel let down
married.
and they could be missing out on something that's amazing because they let the pressure on themselves and what they expected of others.
Yeah,
So
that somebody expected something grand and didn't get it, or yeah, it is. It's too much pressure. It's too commercialized, and baby bird, I'm sorry for your loss, but you're right. You would have been married for 27 years, and I'm sorry about your loss. And then also you said that your grandma passed away on Valentine's Day. I'm sorry. So yeah, and being alone on Valentine's Day can suck. So instead of focusing on that, Loki, just be romantic all the year
yep.
around, and just focus on friendships and focus on other things.
And on yourself, love yourself while you are in this time by yourself right now, because as you love yourself, others will pick up on that too, and it's contagious.
Yeah, yeah. And Amanda made a good point too, is that, relationships aren't always 50-50. We like to say that
Yep.
sometimes, but sometimes one partner is a little down and the other person has to be able to chip in a little more. And one of the things I found when I was counseling couples is that there's that notion of, well, each person needs to do 50% of the 100%. of the couple. And one of the things I used to challenge them and to think about was maybe it really needs to be 100, 100. You know, are you giving 100% of yourself to the relationship? And that's true of any relationship. Are you putting 100% of yourself into this relationship? And I don't mean like 100% of your time, because you've got work and you've got other things
Yep.
to do. But when it comes to your relationship, are you giving it your all? Are you only giving 50% of yourself to the other relationship?
Mm.
That's not how relationships work. You know, you got to give it your all. And
And
people
there's
are going,
also those dips. Tim told me something when we first got together because I had never seen forever. You know, 5 here, 10 here. I watched my mom 16 get a divorce after six. So I never had the example of long-term relationships, right? So Tim had the perfect, not slogan, but the words. And he's like, look, it's not going to be an easy ride. He says, so when you have your doubts, just grab my hand because I'll have enough love for both of us to get you through your darkest, and I'll hold on to your hand so that if I have the dark times, you can pull me up and take care of that and drag me through to the other side. So it is true, sometimes you have to be the 100 for the 10 or 15. And you know you're not always going to be at 100 with at the same page. Somebody's going to have those dark days, or something's going to rattle their faith or whatever. And it doesn't have to be your partner. It could be something from the outside world that rattles you, and you start to think, oh, okay, so, they've been married for 30 years and it didn't work. So what does that say for us? Because, we had this argument. So sometimes you've got to hold on to that other person and lean on them for that strength too.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And
Hey,
like what you
Kata.
said, just sometimes it's just about, how do we treat people all year round, just instead of just focusing on that one day, but just, looking at how we are with people, the how we are the rest of the day. I like what MMC said, treat yourself to an Oreo McFlurry, Loki. Yeah, of course, Loki can make his own with all that snow. He just needs to go out there and
And beat it really good.
exactly. Hey, Kata. Yeah, it's like, just Oreo McFlurries all the way around. So it's true. I think going back to the love languages and what Tim said to you, um, I think that's important again with other people in our lives. Is like we're all going to have those days when we're down and out, and whether it's our kids, our grandkids, a neighbor, a friend, a partner, sometimes we just have to kind of be there for the other person. And there's a concept that we use, that we talk about sometimes in counseling, called holding space. And people are thinking, okay, Melody's really cracked now. Mel's lost it. She's talking about holding space. How can you hold space? But it just means kind of just being there. Like when the other person is having just kind of a time of it, sometimes what we do is we just space for that person until they can kind of get back on the train
Their,
themselves.
their feet
And
back up underneath them. Yep.
yeah, and we've all been there, right? That when we've had those days or weeks or months where we just kind of needed somebody to be there for us. And that was what Tim was describing, is just, I'll be there to hold your hand and prop you up, and you'll be there to do the same for me. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what love is for anybody, because we've all been there, done that for other people, and we've had people do that for us. And that's a pretty awesome thing.
I think people forget relationships aren't a steady like this, and they're not always up like this. Like, oh man, it's a 10 in the bedroom. It's not 10 on the romance level. It's not going to be that the whole time, every day. It's going to level out, and then it's going to have its valleys, and then it's going to have its peaks. So you've got to make sure that not only do you love yourself, but if you are with that person, you've got to make sure that you affirm each other's love language, even if it is just with words. Maybe they need to hear I love you every single day. Maybe it's just your actions a little bit that you do every day. Just a simple post-it note in the morning saying, I hope you have a great day, that can start their day off on a better day, that they bring it home and carry it over back to you and can, continue it to get you through those valleys and those dips and, forks in the roads. Because there's going to be many in a relationship. If they're not, then if you don't have that passion, whether it's fighting or the passion, it's two sides of a coin, and you've got to have the yin to make the yang, and vice versa.
Oh yeah. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean it's not going to be a 10 every day?
Nope, it can't be a 10 every day. And sometimes you
Oh,
can't spend 3 hours making love every night when you've got responsibilities. So sometimes you might have to grab a 5 minute quickie. You know what I mean? So
darn it.
that's another love language. You know what I mean?
Darn
Without
it. Well,
saying
now
words.
I'm only a year into this relationship, Lori. Dang, you just burst my bubble. Darn, girl. No, yeah, no, you're
You
right.
know better than that.
I know, I'm not, I'm just playing, but yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and that's again, we when you think about how relationships kind of ebb and flow, and that you come into relationships lots of times people are expecting fireworks and the fireworks are going to last forever, and then when the fireworks kind of stop, the bing, the bang, the boom, and everybody's like, oh well, is that all of it? And
They
I
don't
think,
love me anymore. Is it
yeah, they
me?
don't love
Yeah.
me. Oh my gosh, what happened? And I think one of the things I kind of enjoy, of course, I like the fireworks, and we got the fireworks, but maybe I'm giving TMI. Um, but I think the other thing that's nice is also kind of just knowing that there's also that slow, steady burn of the kind of like the hot coals, of a fire that's just all always still there. And and that's reliable, and when I think about, a nice roaring fire pit or a nice roaring fire in the fireplace, but I also think about just how when that slow steady burn of a fire, and I'm like, that's what I can rely on. And I don't know, I'm maybe sounding really old and weird right now, and that's okay, but it's not always fireworks all the time, folks.
Nope. And it doesn't have to be because if, like, okay, perfect example. There are a lot of military people and retirees and everything that are out here. There is a lot of separations. It could be 3 days, it could be 3 weeks, 3 months to a year, 18 months on certain occasions where you're alone. Um, so if those affirmations are given to each other in that love language, you're going to be so busy and working on other things that it shouldn't tear you apart. It has. But if stuff like that tears you apart because you're not getting that hot and heavy passion at those moments, and when they first get back, whether it's a he or a she that are just getting back, it's going to take time to get to learn. And that's the fun part. You're going to explore each other again and set that passion back up to a 10, but it's not going to stay there. So you've got to learn ebb and flow, ebb and flow. I mean, as long as you maintain a 3 or a 4, remember, with all your daily life and everything going on around you, and outside pressures and inside pressures, and, you know, a lot of stuff gets in the way. And just because they're not giving you a 10 every time, or you can't give them a 10 every day, doesn't mean that they don't still love you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, let's face it, real life isn't going to be a 10 every day. There's just,
No.
it's I can remember, we went RV camping last summer for 2 weeks, and I'd be lying if I didn't say it was nice to be away from the real world, out at the beach for 2 weeks, and just, just us and the surf and the waves and the trees at the beach campground, and it was fabulous. And could I have stayed out there forever? Yes, but we had to come back to real life. The reality though, hey HBR, the reality though is that there's other things to attend to, and there's family members, and there's responsibilities, and there's other things. And I can remember him asking me, hey, could you do this for 6 months? And I'm like, well, hell yeah, I could do that for 6 months, and maybe sometime we will. But I cherish those 2 weeks knowing that, and hoping maybe we'll get to do that again this summer. And if we get a long weekend or we get other days here and there, that's our happy place is to be out
Yep.
camping. But we've got other responsibilities. You know, he's got other things, I've got other things, and we live an hour apart. So for us, it's not like, 15 minutes away or down the street or whatever. But yeah, and for you, like you're saying in the military, I mean, my dad was in the army, and his deployments were always 12 to 18 months, and France, Germany, Korea, Japan, Vietnam. So when he was gone, he was gone. There was, it was mom and two, and then three girls. So, and back then, back in the '60s, there was no smartphone. There was no communication like there is today. It was letters and reel to reel tapes and an occasional phone call. So
Yep.
couples really had to learn to communicate what little they could. And
Ah,
I don't know. I don't know how they did it. I know that, and probably even now in military families, there's a real shift when couples come back together, let alone trying to, with the whole spark thing.
well,
But
even back, we didn't. We had phone calls. Um, I have got to take this. This is important. Can you?
sure, no problem. Go
I
ahead.
am so sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. But yeah, there's always an adjustment in real life. And looking at the chat here, Meg, I like what your dad told you after you got married. There was no buyback program. No rebates, no buyback, you're in it. And Loki, what you said true is, tell them good morning and tell them you love them because you never know how things will go. And not to bring up a sad subject, but I'm reminded of that, with just what we've seen happening in the Middle East with the earthquakes. And just on a daily basis, we never know what could happen in our lives. And so that's why this isn't just about couples, it's about anybody that we care about
Mel, read the private chat quick.
in our lives. Gotcha, Lori.
That's I had Tim was calling me and a bunch of people, and all of a sudden they were saying 911.
Perfect. Anyway, so we're never promised tomorrow, so that's why it's so 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 important that we that we just tell people that we care about them. And HBR, sorry that you didn't get the notification, but we're glad you're
We're
here
glad you're
now.
here. Yep.
HBR is one of our Valentines. So it's one of those things that we just want to spread the positivity about in our relationships, and that we let people know what they mean to us, and that we keep communication positive, and that we keep communication open, whether it's Valentine's or any other day. And Meg, that's what my boyfriend and I have, that when we're together, we kiss each other goodnight and not to go to bed angry with each other. Um, we might do the fair fighting thing and say that we're going to talk about something the next day or whatever, but we work it out because we value our relationship, and we might go to our corners and need a little time to work something out, but we always work it out and we come back together. Yeah, the HBR, the same thing. You and Meg, that to I think there's a song that Brad Paisley, if I'm not mistaken, wrote. Brad Paisley or somebody in country music about not going to bed mad and that kind of thing. And it's the wisest advice, that you just don't know what's going to happen. That you just don't want to wake up the next day and have regrets. That in the morning when you leave each other, and at night when you go to sleep, that you have a clear conscience. Kat, be our Valentine too.
That's true. You need alone time too. You gotta love yourself, and not just in the physical way, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally too.
Yeah, Lori, that's another show.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm talking about you do need to mentally, spiritually, and physically or emotionally love yourself.
No,
Not, yeah.
absolutely.
And yes, we
Absolutely.
have an agreement too. Always say, I love you, kiss each other goodbye, and hello when you get back from being gone. Always.
Yeah. It's that we talk about the commercialization of Valentine's Day and of other holidays too, but I think one good thing that Valentine's Day does do is it helps us maybe focus in a little bit on relationships and just just maybe stopping us for a second to focus on s- saying I love you to people and maybe making it the center of reminding us that we do need to let people know how we feel about them. When Gary Chapman published the book The Five Love Languages, he was really one of the things he had noticed in his work with couples wasn't that couples didn't care about each other. It was that they weren't communicating and listening to what each other needed to let each other know that they cared. It was kind of like one saying, "Well, I like chocolate," and the other one saying, "I like strawberries," but they weren't acknowledging that. So by saying, "Well, I like it when you hold my hand," and the other one's saying, "Well, I like it when you wash the dishes," then you figure out how to make things work and how to let the other person know what tells you that you care. So it's important to do that. And like Lori said earlier, doing that with kids and doing that with other people really works too. So you said earlier you guys were telling us what your favorite love songs were. What are some other things people can do that let you know they care for you?
Mel, you brought up a subject that a word that you just kind of grazed over for a minute. Food. Cook,
Food.
cooking a meal for that special someone, something that you know that they like, um, just out of the blue, or even if you even plan it to make sure that you do it for them at least once a week, once a month. Their favorite's food, but food is a love language too.
Oh, yes.
And I forgot about that until you were talking about, and you just happened to mention, and it was just like I caught that word, and it, yes, yes,
Food. Yeah. Yeah. Amanda, that's a good one. Learning about each other's interests.
yeah. And
Yeah. And
doing it,
even,
actually taking time, even if you don't like it. Like one weekend, Tim knows he hates reading, but I love it. On a rainy day, so he would grab his manuals for work, and he would sit there and just it killed him after about a half hour. He left, but he still tried to sit with me while I was reading, and he would read in that quiet bubble. And me trying golf. I hate golf, but not only learning about their interests, but trying to at least um, let them show you that part of their life and put yourself in there too.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, MMC, that holding space thing. Like you're on YouTube, she's playing her games, and exactly, you're giving each other space, but and you can even be in the same space, but you're not necessarily interacting, but you're doing what you enjoy, and it there's a quiet comfort in that.
Yeah. Yeah, and music. Somebody can tell if you're playing rock music, they know, if you're doing listening to sad love songs or sappy songs, they know you're sad. If it's love song, yeah, music can tell your moods, HBR.
Oh yeah, music definitely, and
Hey, Desiree.
sometimes sharing music. In terms of your moods. Hey, Desiree, Loki definitely physically, whether sex or not, but yeah, just that touch or
Touch.
kiss,
Yeah.
absolutely squeezing the hand. Peninsula, you're so right. The way to a man's heart can be through his stomach. My boyfriend is a great cook. Fortunately, I'm not the best cook. I'm pretty rusty, but yeah, absolutely. Desiree, hey, welcome. So yeah, if you Kat, if you don't like to go with Tom, but when you do, he's smiling all day long because you're there in his presence. Amanda, I'm with you. I like food a little too much, but oh well. It's
But
um
just knowing that that person, like if Tim knows what my favorite food is, and even if he doesn't cook it, but he goes and he gets it and he brings it home and sets it all up when I came home from work, or I know what his favorite food is, and even if I don't cook it, but I go get it. So you don't even have to actually make
oh,
the meal. It's just knowing.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, because I'm not much of a cook. Now my boyfriend is big into fishing. He was going to go surf fishing the other day. Men, I'm going to admit something here. I did not know that there was something like a 15-foot surf fishing rod, okay? Well, there is. And he recently got one and wanted to take it out fishing, and I was like, wow. Now, I like to fish. It's not, like something that I have to do, but I like to fish. But you know what I like more than anything? I like watching him fish because it's like he gets in the zone. I mean, he gets in the zone. So for me, like when we go RV camping, he can do the fishing, and I just like to sit there and watch him, and I people watch, and I get sun, and I mean he's in the zone. Now, he wound up not going yesterday because it was too cold, too windy. But um, so sometimes it's either participating in the other person's pastime or just sometimes even just watching them enjoy it. But yeah, so I learned a little bit more about fishing, and so now for those of you who did know it, I didn't know there's a 15-foot surf fishing rod.
Ooh, did you hear that?
Is
Hello?
that is that wind?
No, that's lightning. That was
Whoa.
our, yeah, we are getting it. Yeah, we're being, anybody can check the weather. I mean, there is big bands. Our TV just went out. So so just in case, hey, Sunflower, please know everybody, if something happens, Mel, you'll still be able to talk if my
Okay.
internet goes out.
Yeah,
So
well, please be safe.
yeah. Well, no, no, no. I mean, I'm in a safe spot, but if for some reason the power goes all the way out, not just cable, but the internet does too, you'll be able to still continue, but I'll be like just gone. But as soon as it comes back up, I will get back on. And so, and if the show's over, I'll be able to still close it out and everything. So, when you're ready, do not worry about me. I just want everybody to know. So please, please, it's not my fault if I do go out. So,
Yeah.
whew, the
It
dogs
looks
got
like
all scared for a minute.
it looks like food is a love language for a lot of people here. Loki, you like cooking for a woman and like being cooked for. And you're right, kind of like sometimes the meal's irrelevant. It's just that the meal is being made with love.
And the
I like
company.
that.
Yep. Yep.
So Kata, you must be the good luck charm when Tom goes fishing. I like that. I love that. MMC, you're the social butterfly. I love it. Well, I'm glad you're the social butterfly with us.
Yep. For me, I don't like fishing. I've gone before, but it's also, I know that that's his clearing of his mind time, or like when he would walk the dogs, when he walks the dogs, or when he goes fishing, um, like when he did his YouTube. That was all ways for him to decompress. And so, and I did my thing, he does his thing, and then we still. So that's another thing to show love is giving them that individual time too, the person that you care about or even just yourself.
Yeah.
I'm okay
Yeah.
for now, Desiree. It's just bad thunders. We're not we're only a level 3 for tornadoes. We don't I don't think our area has ever seen one in over 25 years, but knock on wood, you know what I mean? But yeah. So
Yeah. That was HBR stomach growling.
stomach. Oh, okay. Now I know what that means. I thought it oh,
Was
okay.
that was that more lightning?
Yeah, no, but the dog, he jumped and he hit the table and must have jerked the cord because my screen went black. So I I'm not getting no snow, Mike. So I'm 78 degrees right now. That's why we're in such severe storms. We're in summertime short weather, 78, 80 degrees before the rain. So, and we'll still be 74 tomorrow and sunny. So, ugh.
Hey, Sunflower. Well, what are you making for dinner, Mike? What's your love language for dinner?
He
Desiree
really
likes
enjoys
cooking
cooking.
too. He does.
He really does like cooking for his family. So, Sin does too.
My idea of cooking is, can you microwave it? Hey, Stony.
Hey, Stony. For me, I cooked at least 5 days out of the week when the kids were at home. And, Tim would work. And then when Jackson's here, I cook all the time. But then when Jackson goes to his dad's or his mom's, and then the kids grew up and they were out, once they hit, like Ashley at 16 was out with her car and her friends, it was like, it's takeout time. So I really have to like force myself to get in that kitchen and cook, even though I love it. Holidays, stuff like that. But I do try to make sure I cook at least once or twice a week for Tim because he does like homemade. And because of where we live, there's not a, you have to drive 30 minutes or more to get to the bigger restaurants. So you get burned out. There's a moist front coming from the Gulf and a cold air merging Shreveport. I figure the winds are going to be coming.
Oh, goodness. Well, Mike's car
So,
hole's making mac and cheese with ground turkey and veggies. That sounds good. Sunflower, I'd be going your route probably. Yeah, if I have to mix more than a couple of ingredients, that's too much. Um, because I live alone. I definitely take the easy route, but I do appreciate a good home cooked meal. Like I said, my boyfriend's a good cook, and oh, we went camping. He brought homemade lasagna, and I was just
ooh,
in heaven. It beat any Italian restaurant around here, and we had Christmas dinner at his house, and I did cook and take some dishes. I made a what was it? I made a cheesy broccoli casserole, which was actually darn good, and I made some baked apples the way Cracker Barrel makes them because we both like those fried apples. So I can cook. It's
I
just
was
that
just going to ask you, can you cook? I mean, because you
I
did have a busy career with everything that you're involved in. You did
yeah,
have a busy life. So,
I did. And when I was married, I cooked, although my first mother-in-law taught me well. She said instead of what's for dinner, it was where's for dinner. So where's for dinner is what she used to ask my father-in-law, and she used to keep before the day of silk flowers, she used to keep a plastic flower arrangement in the oven. And I said, well, isn't that dangerous? Wouldn't that melt if you turn the oven on? And she said, well, that's the whole idea. I don't turn the oven on. So you know, it worked for them. They went out to eat quite a lot, but as newlyweds, and my first job as a teacher paid $8,000 a year, so we didn't quite couldn't quite afford to go out to eat. I learned how to cook, and I did okay. It's just not
yeah,
my favorite thing. Ooh, beef roast, corn, and green beans. Desiree, I'm on my way.
I used to do roast the hard way in the oven and all that other. And then I just got one of the crock pots and figure it, man, now crock pot for all of it. So,
Oh, Spencer, hey, you snuck in there. I missed you.
mac
Hey.
and cheese with bacon, her favorite. Okay.
Oh, Punenzion, that sounds good. That's good. You had me at mac and cheese, okay? Mac and cheese, taco stuffed peppers. Oh, we're gonna have to do a food as a love language episode, I think, or something. I mean, this is right now. The next sound you hear is going to be my stomach growling, saying, because this
But
is
that
this.
truly is a love language. It doesn't have to be
it,
just touch or,
it,
paper or housework and stuff like that. Food. Oh, Amanda's making are the pizza burgers. Which ones are they? One of mine, Amanda, that I showed people. I don't know if she's making the sloppy Joe pizza burgers or like English muffin pizza burgers, or if she's just making burgers with the. There's so many different ways.
Dustin, you're cracking me up. You're cracking me up. Oh, fettuccine Alfredo chicken and broccoli. Oh my goodness. That's going to be a great birthday dinner, Victoria.
Oh, okay, Amanda. Like I said, there's so many out there. That's why I was curious if it was something different I hadn't heard of. So, but yeah, for me, honestly, I love going to different restaurants. I love eating out and trying new things. So for me, when Tim does that and says, "Come on, babe, we're going out," or he calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm near this restaurant. What do you want?" I'm like, "Okay, that's another sign that I don't have to cook. He's calling me early enough so I don't have to."
That's
So
awesome.
paying
Yeah,
the bills
that's
is
awesome.
also a love language. It makes the other person feel safe, secure, knowing they're
It
being
is.
taken care of and sheltered. And
It really is. That's huge because especially in these days and times. I mean, I was paying bills earlier today and thinking, this whole retirement gig. Um, I retired from my day job only to find that I needed another job just to kind of survive in this world. And I like what I do. I'm a writer and an editor, but the funny thing is you work hard for I worked hard for 43 years thinking, oh, I get to retire. I retired early, which I hadn't counted on, but I get to retire and now kind of have some fun. Well, then the pandemic hit, so that kind of put a through cold water on that, the having fun part. But then in this economy, it's kind of like, well, yeah, I guess I really do have to work some more if I'm going to pay the bills. So you just do what you got to do, but you can still have fun doing it. You can still find ways, and you can still find ways without spending a lot of money
yep,
to speak your love languages. It doesn't cost a dime to, well, maybe two dimes, to pay the phone bill, to make that call or send that text or leave that sticky note or just just tell somebody, hey, I care about you, I love you, you're important to me, you look so cute today, you look handsome. My boyfriend's a retired HM1 corpsman who was embedded with the Marines. He's, if any of you are familiar with the lingo, he's a devil doc. And so he spent 20 years doing that. And he spent 20 years as a firefighter, both professional and volunteer. So I have a lot of fun, looking up things about devil docs and learning about what he did and hearing about his travels around the world and kind of immersing myself in that. And I think that's another thing with love languages is kind of learning more about your partner, especially if you haven't maybe been together for a long time, learning more about each other's lives and interests and hobbies. And
ask about their day, their jobs.
yeah, and here's a twist on that too. What do your kids tell you or grandkids tell you if you ask, or your spouse, or if you ask them how their day was? What's the word they usually use?
Fine.
Fine. It was
Yep.
fine. Did you have
So
fun
you
at
got to
school?
pull. It
Yeah,
was
it's
fine. Yeah.
okay. So, some things you can do to change that up would be something like, tell me something funny that happened today, or what was the best part of your day today, or what was something interesting that happened today. So if you ask an open-ended question that gets them to think about their day, what they saw, what they did, that's a great way to learn more about what happened during their day and to engage them in a conversation. So instead of just saying, well, hi, honey, how was your day? Fine.
Yep. And then
Try
be like,
take
okay, if it was fine, what was so bad about it, or what was fine about it? Was
right.
you got to pull teeth sometimes. Sometimes when that's another love language is sometimes you've got to draw it out of them because some people. just find it hard to just unleash or their way of thinking is their burden. They're putting their burdens on you or their problems on you. But when you're with somebody or you or even a best friend or a loved one or somebody just you care about, that's not a burden. They don't understand that. Or just a friend, just share it with me. I'm willing to at least listen, get it off your chest, off your shoulders.
Yeah, and again, just maybe finding a way to switch it up a little bit and just say, well, tell me something funny that happened today, or tell me something funny that happened at school, or tell me what some of the kids at school did, or tell me what tell me about something neat that happened at work or whatever. And usually people can come up with something. So lots of times we just have to find different ways to ask our questions and we'll get some different answers. And that was something that I learned and that other couples learned, when we would be working together in counseling, is if you change up the questions, you change up the answers that you get.
Yep.
So just how we work with our communication. Oh, Amanda, I like that. Glad it's over. That was the response you got. I like that. I like that.
Tim usually comes home and says, busy.
Busy.
Okay, well, why was it so busy? You know,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, that time to decompress, sunflower, that's really, really important. Um, that's pretty much key for almost anybody, and it's true for kids too when they come home from
yes,
school. I know lots of times it's like, okay, eat your snack and then you can immediately do your homework. Well, think about when we come home from work. Did we immediately want to do something work related, or do we immediately want to jump into chores and stuff? Sometimes we need time to decompress, and so do kids. So, yeah, we
and
get time.
listening is a key love language too. Because even kids, when they tell you they have a headache, we always say, "What do you have a headache about?" But they do get headaches. I mean, so we have to listen more too in a relationship or with our friends or something. That is, and sometimes that's all somebody wants is just to be heard, and that could show them right there how much you care about them.
That's right. That's right. Sometimes people don't even really want to talk. They don't even really want to, go do anything, or they don't want to engage in other ways. They just maybe need somebody to listen. Or sometimes, like
Just
MMC
be
was
there.
saying, sometimes just be there. Just hold space, just be there. Um, just be there in the silence, be there in the quiet. It's not about sometimes just filling the space with talk. Sometimes it's just knowing that you're just there. Um, Sometimes just a cuddle, just a touch, just it doesn't have to be sex. It doesn't have to be anything else. Just it could be just sitting or laying on the couch, or just
Yep.
being in each other's presence. That's what's so cool. Um,
Well, with it being so close to Valentine's Day, Mel, and there are a lot of people who celebrate it, as we know, or the corporations wouldn't be getting rich off of it.
True.
What are some fun things that people do for Valentine's Day that you have seen?
Yeah. What do you guys in chat? What are things that you do or have done or would like to do?
Because there are people that you don't have, you can celebrate that you love each other every day, but we know that there are a lot of people who do like to go out to dinner on that day, to just show your loved one, look, I don't want you to have to cook today, so, let's go over there. Buys yourself candy, okay.
That's awesome, sunflower.
Sometimes at the holidays, the best candies do come out. The best chocolates, the best the German bakery cookies and candies that come out at the holidays. So
Or the day after Valentine's Day. Catch those day after Valentine's Day sales.
the flowers and stuff, because the flowers to me are, here's my idea on flowers. Flowers die. Why waste your money for a dozen roses that I might get to sniff for a couple days and then they're gone, and pay $60? Take me out to a nice restaurant for $60. Buy me a nice steak.
There you
That's
go.
for me. So a tub
Ooh,
of
ice
ice
cream.
cream.
Ice cream. What flavor, Loki? What's your favorite flavor?
Amanda's going
Jacuzzi
hiking.
day. Oh, I like jacuzzi day. Yeah, I it's going to be jacuzzi day for me too.
Because it is okay to celebrate Valentine's Day. You just can't use
Absolutely.
that one day to show that person that you care. To me, yeah, then you really don't care if you're only using one day that the powers that be tell you to do that day. But it's normal to
Exactly.
celebrate that day.
Exactly. Oh,
Maybe go
Amanda,
above.
hiking, go to the park and feed the ducks, go to pet stores, go window shopping. Hey, nothing wrong with French vanilla, Loki. Nothing wrong with it.
And I always chocolate was always my favorite, always. And I like the fudge brownie chocolate with the brownie chunks in there, but um and chocolate chip Briars with the real chocolate chip slices. But I'll tell you, Briars came out with that real French vanilla that double churned. The first time I
Ooh.
tried double churned French vanilla by Briars, I was hooked on vanilla too. I mean, I'll still eat my chocolate chip too. Oh yeah, chocolate covered strawberries or bananas. Yeah, that's
Hey, Backwoods.
hey, backwards
Welcome.
welcome.
MMC, I love that. Sherry's berries are so awesome. And how appropriate. Her name is Sherry.
Yeah,
I would get those for my mom too because she loved chocolate covered strawberries and she loved chocolate covered cherries. Sunflower, that's a good idea. You get flowers, dry them out, and turn them into potpourri.
and
HBR
Amanda's
permitted.
friend does dried petals.
Yeah.
What
Now,
HBR say?
now
Because I know it was something funny.
the jacuzzi with I'll do that, and then after the jacuzzi turns off, I throw in some eucalyptus. Oh, what is it? The oh, the salts. The not regular bath salts. What is it? You guys know what I'm going to say. Epsom salts.
Oh, okay.
Eucalyptus Epsom salts.
Because you're trying to soothe your muscles after what you did in the jacuzzi. Let's be real.
Oh, she's on to me. Shh, 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 shh. You were not. Now I do have a big jacuzzi. It's big enough for two. You were not supposed to out me on that.
That's what we do. We keep it straight talking
Yeah,
over
we keep it
here.
real. Yeah, we
We
keep it
keep it
real.
real.
It is big enough for two. You're killing me, sunflower. Double chocolate with fudge and brownies. We
Yep.
we did go to Cheesecake Factory last weekend, and we did splurge and got the Godiva chocolate cheesecake. Although I had to bring it home because I was too full to eat it there, but oh my God, it was sinful.
I didn't know Epsom salt's good for tomatoes. I wonder if it's good for all your uh, fruits or your vegetables that you're planting.
I've heard I don't I'm not much of a gardener, but I've heard it's good in the garden for certain things.
Hey,
I,
Creeker.
I just knew it was good for mussels. Hey, Creaker.
I heard it was good for mussels too, but I didn't know for the garden. That's See, I always grew my tomatoes even from a school project. You start off in a Pixie cup or a Dixie cup, and then you put them in a pot and you get them to the thing, but you leave them like on a window bench inside. It keeps all the ants and all the bugs from getting them, and they get plenty of sunshine. And you water them, and you get the best tasting tomatoes, and didn't even have to go back. Yeah, they say on the back of the bag it said it's good for gardening.
Huh.
Mm.
Pununzion, that's funny. I will eat vanilla ice cream, but that's funny that it reminds you of your grandmother's perfume. I reluctantly would eat vanilla ice cream, but I'd probably drench it in chocolate syrup.
And they say it's awesome. Okay, and then HBR said yeah for tomatoes.
Hmm.
So see, you never stop learning no matter how old, because if you stop learning and not willing to learn, then you're going to hit brick wall in your life,
Oh yeah. Well, see,
or you're at the end.
that's the great thing about this chat and this family is that everybody else is, everybody's got something to offer. MMC, I
Yes, they do.
think Sherry is going to be one lucky lady this year. homemade chocolate covered strawberries, breakfast in bed. Oh my gosh. I hope my
And
boyfriend's listening to this.
it's so easy to make them now too, if because they have those little cups of the dipping chocolate that's liquid. All you have to do is, smother your strawberries in them and put them in the freezer for a short time, let them harden up, keep them in the ice box. Don't let them freeze the whole strawberry, but yeah, a lot easier to make nowadays.
I actually did that one year for my mom. I had gotten the Sherry's berries one year, and then the next year she was going through chemo, and I did that. I got the dipping chocolate from from the grocery store and did it, and it was actually a lot of fun to do it myself.
Yeah, that's exactly my philosophy too, HBR. We are never too old to learn something new.
Yeah, that's really true. HBR. Wait a minute. HBR said something serious. HBR, are you okay?
Yeah, he's got a fever. I'm glad you caught that because I was reading it and it's like what sounds off about this, and then it's like you said it. It's like he's never serious.
What did you do with HBR? Where's the real HBR? What did you do with him?
Or they're teasing him in the chat because the other night on a live, I had to scream like a mom to him, like HBR, wake up, HBR.
No, I HBR that you're awesome, and that is so true. When we stop learning, we do. We kind of have a foot in the grave. I mean, even at my
Yep,
ripe old tender age, um, it's true. We need to keep learning.
yep. That's a nice Valentine's present too.
Ooh, Loki. Again, I said earlier, lucky lady, lucky lady.
He's
Um,
truly a romantic at heart. He tries to hide it, with comedy and humor, but he's very explorative and creative, as we saw from A Late Night with You Mel song one night, and very romantic, a comedian at heart. He can
he
hunt, he can
is.
fish. He's a jack of all trades.
He is, and I can honestly say, I'm just gonna tell on my boyfriend. He's very much the same. In fact, I often say my boyfriend's a Renaissance man, and Loki reminds me of him. That I mean, my boyfriend can cook, he can sew, he can hunt, he can fish, he can,
Yep,
he was a corpsman, he could sew me up if he needed to. I mean, he can do it all, and he's a romantic. He loves music, he loves dancing, he's everything, and so it's. I mean, not to put any pressure on him. I mean, but he's a wonderful man, and none of us are perfect, but he's perfect for me. And so
that's all that matters.
that's what's important. Stony, it's not funny that your boyfriend gave you COVID for Valentine's Day. I think I got mine at Labor Day from my boyfriend. So yeah, some things aren't meant to be shared, are they?
Mike, you go to Walmart's and they have little chocolate dipping sauces over there on the fruit where the fruit in the bakery's at. And they have the little chocolate cups that are liquid. All you have to do is roll your strawberries into the dip and put them in the freezer for a short amount of time to get them a little crunchy and then straight back in the ice box. So you can do it and surprise your wife this year and you don't have to make a mess with trying to melt the Hershey bars yourself.
Yeah, and they taste good too, Mike's. They really
Yes,
do.
instead of
Yeah,
burnt chocolate.
MMC, you're right. This is straight talk, and HBR can be very straightforward, and we appreciate that.
Yep. I
And
like his serious side and funny side.
yeah,
Well, hello,
Amanda, I'm
Isidore.
sorry that your husband can't, can't do that now, but it's wonderful that he was able to do that before.
And you know what? Another language, and it doesn't have to be a love because friendship is a type of bond. Um, it doesn't matter if what time of day, if HBR is up, I all I have to do is say, hey, I need your help, can you help me? He will stop what he's doing if he's able to, and he helped me with something that other people we couldn't figure out, and he was able to figure out what was wrong. It took him a little bit, but he ended up fixing something for me, well, sending me the tools that I needed and walked me through what I needed to fix something the other day.
That's awesome. That's awesome,
So
HBR.
that's a language of friendship to me that you just can't put a price on too. So I
No,
appreciate.
no, you can't. That's awesome. Hey, Iron Horse and Panuzione, he is my dream man, and I'm very fortunate to be in a relationship with him. I love him to pieces. And Amanda, I think that's wonderful that despite limitations, he does what he can, and the fact that you love and appreciate him. You know, I hear this, and I saw this a lot when I was working with couples who, because I worked a lot with vets and with other people who had acquired disabilities, either because of injuries from being deployed or from other accidents and things like that. And often there'd be a focus on the disability or the injury. And
And
we
not the
tried to
man.
really focus, yeah, we tried to really focus on the ability. And when the focus shifted to the abilities, and when the focus shifted to the inner workings of that person and their personality, life could still be very, very sweet. And the fact that you still appreciate him and love him, I know must mean the world to him. So,
I could tell you from experience that when it was at the rough, when he first got brought back, a counselor told me, let him speak out to you any way he wants and to the kids. And I said, no, that's not how he was as a husband and a father. And I'm going to treat him and do to him exactly how I've always done because nothing's different about him. He is still him. So I know he's in a lot of pain. I know he's hurting and I know this, but he is still the core of he is a father, he's my husband. And if he wants to act the fool, I'm going to give it right back to him. And I think that helped draw him back to where he
hmm
needed to be because he still felt, you know what, no matter what happened to me, it doesn't define me and I am still this person because they still look at me at this person. They still need me at this person. Hey, Maria, thank you. So,
yeah,
yes, and that's another language of love, Amanda, by staying with him because there were a lot of the military went from a normal 30% to almost a 90% divorce rate as the wars were kicking off with the long deployments and coming back and people being shot in the so yeah, just staying there through all the trauma or whatever's wrong, knowing that there is still that person that you love and there's more to him than just that. um that's a language of love that you're doing, Amanda, that I know that even if he can't maybe express it, he sees it, and I know that he values you.
yeah, absolutely. The fact that he's there with you, that he survived that horrific accident, and that so many things that he can't do, um, that the alternative would be not having him in your life, and that's just a testament to your love. I'm sure it's not
Yep.
easy, but wow, just amazing that you're still there for each other, that you're there for him. In a lot of ways, maybe he can't be there for you, but he can still be there for you in some ways. So,
And
Maria,
she knows
hi.
there's that she can talk to that understand exactly what she's going through.
Yeah,
So how
yeah,
we've got through to the other side. So
yeah. It's there are some people who face challenges that the rest of us will never know and understand, and makes me appreciate. Sometimes people have said, "Wow, you've been through breast cancer twice. You've been through the loss of a boyfriend who that you were going to marry who died. You've been through this and that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm blessed because there are a whole lot of people who have been through a whole lot more than I have." And it's true. I mean, I can't imagine what some of the people in chat have been through, and some of the other people I've encountered in my life who have had horrific tragedies and losses. So I do consider myself blessed and lucky. And
and we will
it's
be talking about that too for sure on another.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's, I think, goes back to what we're talking about today. That we don't want to miss opportunities to tell the people in our lives how much we appreciate and love them, because
Yep.
not only might they not be around the next day, we don't know, when our expiration date might come up, and we don't want to miss that opportunity to share our love and to let people know that we do appreciate them. And it's not to sound morbid. I mean, it's just the reality that we might not be able to share that cup of ice cream or that cup of coffee or that drink or that meal or something with somebody the next day. So we don't want to miss the opportunities to do the little things. And what I'm seeing in chat is that, and check me if I'm wrong, chat, it seems like it's the little things that mean the most.
You know? And you know what else I'm picking up here, Mel? They're kind of leading us into another show. People with stuff they've gone through and how not being able to release their pain or how to express it without it coming out as anger or what exactly anger is. That might be something we're gonna have to talk about.
Yeah, definitely, definitely so. And I agree with HBR that often physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain often gets released as
Yep.
anger
So
and
does depression.
depression.
That's fact. Depression comes out as anger in men. It comes out in tears for women. So and it can be vice versa too sometimes. So it's not an exact science,
Yeah.
but for the majority, yes. But always the little things, Amanda. Yep, little things is what shows that love. Exactly.
Yeah, low key that the grand gestures are nice, but only, sometimes we can only do those once in a while. And it's for me, it's I know for me it's the little things. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me it's those little things. Like I said, we my boyfriend and I were taking a drive. Sometimes I mean he loves to drive. He's got an awesome Ford 250, and we'll get in the truck, and he just loves to drive, and we'll wind up somewhere, and we'll be driving along, and I'll have my arm on the armrest, and when he just picks up my hand and kisses it, and I'm like, you know, not that I'd turn down $1 million, but I'll tell you that kiss on my hand, holding my hand is worth the world to me. And um, I think after the pandemic too, and being so isolated from people because of medical conditions, to find somebody who's demonstrative like that and who also likes physical touch really just was a win-win. So again, hope it's not TMI, but it's just such a perfect match. And I don't know, I find myself incredibly lucky, not only that he enjoys being just demonstrative, but that he also likes it when I'm demonstrative. And I think it's important that, and it's been wonderful that we're able to share when we talk to each other and also tell each other what it is that is meaningful to us. And that's an important thing to have with your partners, a conversation about, what's meaningful to you. And very early on we actually talked about the love languages. He knew what they were, and we talked about it. So if you haven't had that conversation with somebody important in your life, it's a good conversation to have, and be aware what the love languages are. And to know that it doesn't have to be the grand gestures in life. It can be holding space. It can be sitting there in silence with somebody, and just the comfort of knowing that you're there,
Oh,
even with a family member. Oh, backwoods.
that is. I always poked him. Right, I'll come up and I just poke him in the ribs, and he always yells at me, says, "Stop that!" And I says, for 26 years I've been doing it, and if the time comes that I stop, then you should be worried because at least it's something I've always done. I always have to touch him. And it's just my little gesture to say, as I walk by and he's busy, I'll just poke him in the ribs because he's ticklish. And, when that person stops, then, especially after long term, then you have to worry about that. But don't worry about
Yeah,
it, but over the little stuff because, yeah, I mean, to me, if you show you love somebody every day, you can't do the grand gestures all the time. And so maybe you could only do it once a year. Um, but then you're putting pressure on yourself to try to do that. What's grand? How much bigger do you have to go the next time and the next time? So by doing it on a regular basis, just on what you can afford and what you can emotionally put out for that other person, sometimes that's all that they need, because everybody can tell if somebody's not more vocal or more expressive. So it's by learning what they do to show you how they love. And yes, I said do. I know I'm going to be teased by Mike in the chat. Um, those are that's just something that you have to learn to pick up that language on what the other person is saying without saying. So
Yeah, that's really well said. I was afraid Mike's Carhall was going to come in and ask if it was moist doo doo.
yeah, as you
Yeah,
do more. Yeah. So
moist doo doo. You
yeah,
know that's so true, Lori. And then the other thing is that then sometimes the other person feels obligated to outdo the grand gesture, and then it's like this back and forth competition, and it's like that's not healthy. It's you
no,
know it's like crazy, um, because it's not always mentally, emotionally, physically, financially possible.
yep,
And and in the in the long run, it's like, whoa, what was the whole point of this? You know, and go back to what backwoods said. Sorry, I start to say backwards. Sorry, backwoods. That was that. No, no, no. The chase. You know, I think that's part of what keeps a relationship young is that you never forget. Don't ever forget, even in the lowest points of a relationship, don't ever forget about what it was that attracted you to that person in the first place. Why did you start chasing? What was it that attracted you to that person in the beginning? And if in your lowest points you can remember, what was it? Was it a look, a glance? You know, Red Eye talked about, you know, when he first saw his wife, you know, um, he was eating that strawberry pop tart, you know, and 2 weeks later they were married. You know, think about the qualities of that person, physical, mental, emotional. Think about what drew you to that person, and when you sorry, backwoods. When you think about those qualities are still be there, will still be there. Now, it's true, pretty faces and muscular bodies, those things can change over time, but the true qualities that attracted you to that person and to each other, those don't die.
no,
And if you think about that, they're still going to be there. And Calla, you said Tom's sense of humor. So my guess is that Tom still has that sense of humor. No matter how many ups and downs you guys have had, he can still be funny and you can still
face
appreciate it.
left. Yep. So
Yeah.
I have a question for the chat and for Mel. We all put out that love language without even knowing it. That's what attracted us to our partner, whether it was male for female, female for male, whatever it was. There was something. Like for me, I walked in, I was with my ex, we went out as friends, and all I did was glance, and Tim happened to be staring back, our eyes locked. And that was, I already knew right there that I was going home with him. So that was weird that we were able to just, with a look, that was our own language. So, what was yours with your man now, the love that you're in love with, and the chats? The initial love language that you shared.
Mm. You mean before we even physically met?
Yeah, what was it like? Was it a word that he typed on the computer or that you ran? I mean, what was it that you two just kind of were like drawn to each other? What was that first initial language?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Oh, I'm going to have to think on that for a minute because I know I was physically attracted to what I saw. He was cute. He's got a Burt Lancaster jaw. Oh my gosh. Um, but I think I know that he was smart and witty, and he made me feel very comfortable.
But how did you get to that point where you realized he was smart and witty? There had to be something that drew you, that initial language, that laws of attraction, as you will. What brought you to him to find out he was witty and smart and all that?
Well, I was teasing him the other day because the the first the first phone message he left me basically, he introduced it himself and he said, "Well, tag you're it. The ball's in your court." And
Yeah,
I
but how
was
did he
like,
get your phone number?
"Oh,
Did you
well,
meet
I gave it."
somewhere?
No, no, no. I gave it to him in a text. I
Okay.
ga- I gave it to him in a text. But I think just the fact that we had texted back and forth and he was smart and witty, and I was like, "Oh, this is somebody
Okay.
who's engaging," and he's yeah, it was just, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was being talked down to, or I just felt like we were kind of equal players, and he was very charismatic and engaging, but not in a cocky kind of way.
Okay. What is your, in the chat, what is your initial love language that attracted you to the person you're with or when you're meeting somebody? Because you don't know how smart they are. You don't know how funny they are. You don't know any of that. Loki says it's a butt. They got a nice
Yeah,
butt that draws him right immediately. Backwood says the eyes,
yeah, I like eyes
boobies
and
for
butts.
HBR. Oh, I do too. With a nice pair of jeans and not
Yeah,
those baggy girly jeans, but yeah.
yeah, he's got a darn cute butt.
Uh, so Amanda's was when they worked together, and then when he realized how her ex was treating her, so he threw her a note, and there it was. That's all
Whoa.
it took was a note. See, so Kata, how do you know Tom was funny? But something had to draw you to Tom in the first place before you knew he was funny. So his caring personality that he was able to show you because you worked together. Okay. H Bear goes right for the boobs. If she has boobs, then they'll talk tequila, iron horse. Because we never think, but there is a love language even before it's what gets us started on that path with that person. Because you
Yeah,
might not think it, because see, once again, you don't have to say it, but there's something, and not just pheromones, and our hormones. There's something that out of a crowded bar, per se, I lock eyes. I'm walking in, and all of a sudden, with everybody around, I'm looking at people, and our eyes connected. So right there, that instant chemistry with just that eye contact for me. So right away, that drew me in before I could see anything else about him. I didn't know how
yeah.
tall he was. I didn't know what he did. So yeah, tequila
Loki.
leads to coyote ugly.
Yeah, tequila makes my clothes fall off. Yeah, yeah, HBR. Yeah, you and I have the mind meld there. Yeah, Mike's car hole. Gotcha. Yep.
And then of course Victoria, her ex saw how another person was treating her. So, right then and there. So, that's that butterface. You live everything butterface, you roll over and you realize you want to chew your arm off so you don't wake her up in the morning or him. So, Mike MMC's was he was at work and it was her eyes and her smile. And when he first went to pick her up on their first date, she was covered in grease from head to toes
There
from a
you go.
semi. So eyes, see, it's eyes, it's a smile, it's a set of boobs, it's a butt. So yeah, personality. But when you know a person's personality, it's because you did work with them and you got to know them that way. So Mike was tricked, and he has been married for 18 years now.
Oh, Mike's car hole. You must have been a pushover. Jeez. Backwoods. She outdid you with the gun caliber. So, uh oh.
See, yeah, that's another good language. If you guys know you both like to shoot, you go out and you shoot, and that's a romantic day. I mean, I don't know how you can't say that's romantic. You're spending time, you're outdoors together, and you're doing something that you both love to do. That's a romantic date to me.
Yeah, it is. Kata, there you go. And that's you just hit on something, Kata. When somebody has a sense of humor and their compassion, um, and I think the fact that my boyfriend and I talked for so many hours on the phone before we even met. We had texted back and forth. We talked for hours on the phone. When we finally met, we were both, I got out of the car, we were smiling. The first thing he did was wrap me in a hug and said, "Where's my kiss?" So it was, I don't even think we said hello. I think it was just, "Where's my kiss?" So yeah, it's just
You
interesting.
made him hungry, her hungry.
Yeah, I think so. Amanda was
She went to
driving a
cook.
Mustang.
What do you
Oh,
mean a
put it.
military marriage, Mike? That you both got married to like get out of the barracks? Because I that is a thing. A lot of people in the military do decide like they're tired of being in the barracks. They like a person as a friend. They want to get married to get to go ahead and get into quarters, get out of the barracks. And then some people actually fall in love, and then some they start right away, bringing people over, and then they realize they do meet their, and then they have to go through all that divorce. So it's crazy, but in the military, that stuff does go like that. But she was a civilian. Oh, that's another, yeah, another way. What Mike is, you're away for the first time away from home. You're in a new place. You meet somebody, and instead of being lonely, you go ahead and you get married. And yeah, but I
HBR
bet she gonna beat you up, Mike.
HBR loves a girl that likes to get under the hood of a car. Fellow grease monkeys.
Yep, a lot of guys like that. If you know a little bit about a car, um, they like that. You don't have to know everything, but just know your way around the basics. Like, just know your tools. Basic tools sometimes is a big turn on for guys.
My dad was big into cars. Unfortunately, I know just enough. Prudenzione, I hope you're making something good. Well, Iron Horse, we're glad your ex was a bad shot, but you're
Yep.
still here with us.
It was a joke, Mike. I know. Unfortunately,
Well, the nice
sometimes the
thing,
jokes go over Mike's head, and then sometimes they score perfectly. But he was cooking, so I'll give him a little leeway there.
there you go. The nice thing is that with Valentine's coming up, everybody here in chat is our Valentine. So we want you to know that. We're thrilled that you guys, if this is the first time joining us, we're thrilled that you did. If you came back after the first stream, thank God we didn't run you off and you came back. And
Yeah.
we hope that you'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll have
Yep.
another great topic for you. We hope you'll bring your friends and tell your friends that when you come to Straight Talk, it is real talk with real people about real subjects. We don't do drama. We love the humor and we love our chat and we love our family. And Lori, what do you think?
You said it all. Because we hold it down. That's the only way we got to do it is hold it down. So,
And we watch out for people like Amanda because she scares the crap out of people. No, just kidding. She said she scared the crap out of her husband the first time he ever drove with her, but then he appreciated it.
so I think for Tim, he's used to the trucks and cars and stuff, and you put me behind a V8, and when you don't know somebody, and then they it's balls to the walls. I mean, when you got those cars, you got to do it balls to the walls. I don't care what you're driving, even if it's just a Mustang. you know, you
Hey,
drive that V8 balls to the walls.
don't be down in those Mustangs now. Don't be down in those Mustangs. No, we
I'm a
we
Chevy girl all the way.
we love y'all, and we are so glad that you
That's
guys
amazing, Kata.
hung out with us again for a couple hours here on this Wednesday, and
Yep.
Kata, that's wonderful that even though you were in pain, Tom was there with you. And MMC, so glad that, Sherry has hung in you there for 37 years.
Yep. And I'm so grateful that everybody, I know that there is a winter storm in the Midwest. Snow is coming down and ice. We're getting rain all the way from Texas and Mississippi, all the way up to Kentucky and Tennessee. Um, so thank you for coming and hanging out with us today on this Wednesday. I hope the weather wherever you're at keeps you safe and warm. Um, 23 years for Canada. And I must tell you, that's a relationship based on love. And they're not even married because they're married to each other spiritually, emotionally. You don't have to have a piece of paper for everybody. I am an old traditional.
That's
I like that piece of paper for me, but I'm glad I had that with Tim. But if me and Tim were at the point where we could be together and they told us there was no paper, I'd still choose him today. So as I know you guys would choose the people you're with. So we want to thank you all.
Iron Horse. Buy yourself something nice for Valentine's Day and enjoy it. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
We love you too, guys.
Stay tuned for announcements for 2 weeks. We'll be back. Join us for Straight Talk. It's real people, real talk. And we'll be back and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Love you
All
guys.
right. You don't have to go home. You just got to leave, and we will see you on the flip side. Stay safe and stay blessed and have an amazing rest of your week. I know you are, Kata. I know you are. I have hopes.
Bye.